On Christmas Day, 1933, two men were fishing on the banks of the Murrumbidgee River near the New South Wales regional city of Wagga Wagga when they found the body of a man in the water. With the alarm raised, officers from Wagga Police were dispatched to the scene 5 miles outside the town, where they observed the badly decomposing body of a middle-aged man, which appeared to have been in the water for up to a week. His head wrapped in a chaff bag. The deceased was conveyed to the Wagga morgue, where the bag was removed and an examination revealed severe fracturing of the skull as a result of repeated blunt force trauma. Declared a suspicious death, and with the identification of the bloated corpse deemed to be almost impossible, homicide detectives were dispatched from Sydney to assist local police with the investigation. While conducting a search for additional evidence along the banks of the river, a detective made a grisly discovery: the skin of a degloved human hand. Taking the skin back to Wagga, the government medical officer confirmed that it belonged to the right hand of the body found on Christmas Day. The skin sample was taken to Sydney for examination by the Fingerprint Bureau, with a police officer using the skin as a human glove. Fingerprints were successfully obtained and a process of matching them against police records commenced. There was a hit. The prints were found to belong to a man named Percy Smith. During the height of the Great Depression, police stations were often used in country areas to dispense welfare payments. Inquiries revealed that on the 26th of October 1933, 2 months before his body was located, Percy Smith had reported to Narrandera Police Station, 100 kilometres from Wagga, to collect his dole benefit. Further inquiries indicated that Smith was one of the many homeless in those harsh economic times, who travelled around the Riverina, living out of his wagonette, drawn by a bay horse and accompanied by his 2 dogs. Publishing a description of the wagonette in the local newspaper, the vehicle was soon located in Wagga. It had been bought and sold a number of times, which led investigators to a man who already had a lengthy involvement with police: Edward Mori. Locating Mori in his tent accommodation in Spring Street, Wagga, police searched his belongings and located a tarpaulin and white shirt with bloodstains on them. They also located a tomahawk which had been linked to the wagonette belonging to Percy Smith. Despite denials from Mori, police were able to confirm that he and Smith had been seen together at the Crossroads Hotel in the village of Colin Gully near Wagga, and at a number of other locations on the 18th of December, a week before Smith's body had been found. Mori was arrested by police and charged with the murder of Percy Smith. During his period on remand, Edward Mori had received fan mail from a mysterious secret admirer, declaring her love for him and her desire to help him in any way she could. The letters were signed Thelma Smith. Mori had no idea who the woman was. On the 8th of May 1934, The first day of the trial of Edward Mori for the murder of Percy Smith, the court heard testimony from a number of people, including 33-year-old Moncrief Anderson, who, like many in the economic climate, had been camping in the outdoors and travelling around in the hope of finding work. Anderson, who had been living with his wife Lillian on the River Common at Narrandera and was now staying in a shack with other homeless on the banks of the Murrumbidgee at Wagga, knew Percy Smith and was able to give the court a description of Smith's wagonette, horse, dogs, and an account of his movements in the Narrandera area in the lead up to his death. 2 days after giving evidence in the trial of Edward Mori, Moncrief Anderson left his shack in the homeless camp on the Wagga Reserve, carrying buckets to draw water from the Murrumbidgee River, when he was shot in the back of the head before reaching the riverbank. Police and ambulance officers raced to the scene, where Anderson was located in a state of semi-consciousness with a bullet lodged in his brain. He was conveyed to hospital in a critical condition. The Sydney detectives in town for the trial of Edward Mori were tasked to assist the local police once again in the investigation into the attempted murder of a Crown witness. Inquiries revealed that Anderson's 26-year-old wife, Lillian, was the last person seen with him before he was shot. Following police questioning, she admitted that she was in possession of a rifle when they were walking to get water. It was also discovered, after signing her statement, that Lillian's handwriting bore striking resemblance to the handwriting in Edward Mori's affectionate fan mail written under the name of Thelma Smith. On the 11th of May 1934, Lillian Anderson was charged with shooting with intent to kill her husband Moncrief on the banks of the Murrumbidgee at Wagga. But upon him ultimately succumbing to his injuries, her charges were upgraded to murder. At that moment in the Wagga courthouse, Edward Mori was sentenced to death by hanging for the murder of Percy Smith, ending up in neighbouring cells adjacent to the courthouse. Mori reportedly collapsed, crying inconsolably at the verdict, while Lillian Anderson was weeping hysterically following her court mention. Bail refused on the charge of murder. Committed to stand trial for murdering her husband, Lillian Anderson said that there had been a long history of him being abusive towards her, and while admitting to being responsible for his shooting, claimed that it was an accidental discharge of the firearm. Attempting to frame her deceased husband for the death of Percy Smith in the hope of getting Edward Mori's conviction overturned, she confessed to have been a secret admirer of Mori's for a number of years prior, and having written letters to him under the nom de plume Thelma Smith while he was on remand. After juries in 2 trials failed to agree on a verdict, Lillian Anderson was found guilty of manslaughter by a 3rd jury in late 1934 and was sentenced to 20 years imprisonment. She would go on to serve only half of that, released from jail in 1944. Edward Mori successfully appealed his death sentence, which was commuted to life imprisonment. Spared the rope, after spending 20 years in Goulburn jail, in 1953, Mori was released into the care of a health sanatorium after contracting tuberculosis in prison. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.